Hello Gemini Risings, welcome to Kilofa Tarot. My name is Kira and this is my channel and your September reading. I'm going to start off with the tarot cards and then I'm going to pull a house card and then go from there. So the intention with this is, despite the fact that we're already like a week into September, so I'm a little bit late, but the intention for this is to just do an energy reading for what Gemini Risings can expect for the month of September. And if you don't know what your rising sign is and you're a Gemini sun, you can click the link in the description, which will take you to astroseek.com, and you can put your birth details in, including your birth time, which will give you your rising sign. So I know some people do these videos for Gemini sun, moon, rising, etc., but the intention for this is for the rising signs in this series. So if you're a Gemini rising, welcome. You are welcome if you're a Gemini sun as well. But the link is just there for if you want to double check to find out what your rising sign is. But without further ado, let's get into the tarot. So for you, I'm using the Fountain Tarot, which looks like this. I don't have the case for it. Oh, okay, that fell out. I don't have the case for it, so I can't tell you who it's by, but it's a really lovely deck, and it just gives off that air vibe, that air sign vibe, like Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. Very airy, intellectual, even like Virgo. I think I'll use it for Virgo risings as well. But yeah, let's see what is in store for September for you, Gemini risings. Spirit, please send messages through my cognizant, clairvoyant, and clairsentient channels. Okay, let's see what we've got here. We have the Five of Cups coming out for the heart of your reading. So the Five of Cups is representative of grief and loss, but the silver lining with this card is that there are positives and things that you can be grateful for within that loss, and also outside of that loss, because this figure here in the Five of Cups is in this place where they are focusing on what they have lost. They're focusing on the negativity. They're focusing on the lack, but there are actually cups filled behind them. There are things that they have going for them. And so the main thing I would say with the Five of Cups is to focus on gratitude. It can be extremely hard if you are dealing with the loss of a person or a loved one, whether that be through a breakup, a disconnection, a miscommunication, an argument, a separation, or a death. Like, there could definitely be a lot of, difficulties focusing on the positive in that scenario, because it is a very intense emotional process. So honor your feelings, honor your emotions this September, but I would definitely look into practicing gratitude and focusing on what you have. This could also be a loss of career or a loss of passion or interest in something that you were really once interested in. It doesn't have to be a massive loss, like the loss of a loved one or something like that. I just heard as well, like loss of a pet. Like, it doesn't have to be something that big, like that someone or something has been separated or taken from you. It could be that you have, like all the candles have blown out in your passion, like I just saw an image of like the candles just one after the other just being kind of blown out really quickly. So like maybe you started a career and you were really interested and really passionate, and then it just kind of was lost and you're like, oh shit, or maybe you started a relationship and the passion is lost or the connection is lost and you just know it's not working. So it doesn't have to be death, it doesn't have to be grim, but long story short, you may be dealing with some sort of loss or processing some sort of loss this month. Let me get some more clarity for you. I always get really nervous filming these readings. Like, I just get so nervous when I do readings. So I'm just expressing that because it helps if I just say it out loud that I'm nervous. I'm just like, yep, I'm nervous. That's what I'm feeling. It's all good. We have Two of Swords as well. Okay, so the Two of Swords, I'm going to put this to the left, this card. The Two of Swords represents a decision. It represents a stalemate. You're standing in this position this September where you have options. There are options, there are avenues, but you're at a stalemate. Maybe you are too scared to move forward because it can herald loss, it can bring loss, it can shift things in ways that might be uncomfortable. There could also be a fear around making the wrong decision or not knowing whether or not you should or should not leave a situation. Once again, this can be career, relationship, a housing situation, literally even the country. Just, like leaving something behind or shifting something. Like there could be something that is causing a lot of mental turmoil. So you're like potentially in this place, Gemini risings, where you feel like you have got a lot of anxiety, a lot of mental like worrying in your brain, which like Gemini energy is very like mentally like stimulated, very complex, very zip zappy, like it's very like, to and fro, like hummingbird energy, very fast, very intellectual. It's ruled by Mercury. So you could be someone who is an overthinker, someone who suffers with anxiety, someone who suffers with indecision, or even mental like impulsivity, or like the opposite of mental impulsivity, mental stagnation, because you're constantly overthinking things. So it could be that you are fast-paced, action-oriented without thinking too hard, or you could be the complete opposite, someone who thinks so much that they can't move. It could go either way, but the Two of Swords does represent stagnancy. This person is standing there with their eyes covered, which indicates like a lack of clarity or a lack of vision or a lack of being able to like clearly see. There's a lack of clear-headedness, and they're holding these two swords, these two options. So maybe you're weighing something up this September and you know that whatever you pick is going to it's going to lead to some type of loss. But what I have to tell you is that everything also leads to some type of gain. There is a decision to be made this September for you. All right, let's get another card. I'm talking so fast. It's crazy. All right. We have the Ten of Cups reversed. So I feel like there's something about your energy, Gemini risings, that is dissatisfied and unharmonious. And it's not necessarily that you are, everything in your life is unhappy. But with the Ten of Cups, this is, when it's upright, this represents the ideal, the picture perfect scene, whatever that looks like for you. It's stereotypically seen as like the white picket fence, the golden retriever, the two loving parents and their kids, and like the perfect job, emotional satisfaction and fulfillment. But for you, that could look like getting on a plane every Tuesday. For you, that could look like being in the woods in a log cabin, completely alone with just you, your witchcraft, and a cat. Like everybody's ideal is different. So for you, something is not lining up. Something is not the ideal. Something is representing disharmony, dissatisfaction. Once again, this could be anything. And you have a decision to make regarding how you move forward towards dissatisfaction. Like maybe the decision that you make could lead to disruption in the family environment. It could lead to a lack of happiness. It could lead to, it could be quite shattering, quite towerish, like chaotic. It could be like, oh, I can't make this decision because it's going to lead to loss and disharmony. But ultimately, I feel like you are in a very mentally challenged place. Like you are feeling very stressed about something. We also have the Six of Cups. This is representative of childhood and reminiscing in the past. So with this coming through, this could be it could be family related, because the Six of Cups and the Ten of Cups, they both talk about children and family and love and connection. The cups in general are very emotional oriented, very family oriented, connection, unity, that type of energy. And the Six of Cups reversed. Let me get a book on this because I want to be able to read that one properly. There could be some past influences, something to do with your past, your childhood, etc., that could be coming up. This could be something to do with if you do have children. Let me just read Six of Cups. Stuck in the past. Okay, so with the Two of Swords being a decision, maybe you need to move past some type of grief. So maybe you've dealt with some type of loss already and you haven't yet processed that. So this could have been the loss of, for some of you, it could have been the loss of a house. Maybe you had your dream house, or like you had a situation like that, or you were close to getting a dream house and like you lost that. This could have also been something a lot more like tragic, like because this talks a lot about children, like this could have been the loss of a child or the idea of having children. Perhaps there was like some sort of family loss or a separation or some sort, because the Six of Cups reverse is like not moving on from the past, being stuck in the past, lamenting over the past, childhood stuff. So this could be something from childhood, or it could be something connected to your dreams surrounding family and children and being able to give and receive and like that abundance there. Because also like, yeah, there's this element of grief and stagnation as well, which is very heavy energy to be in. And it's not necessarily that you can't move forward, because I feel like this reading is about encouraging you to move forward, because Two of Swords is like you need to make that decision to move forward in some way past this loss, or move forward and get comfortable with, I guess, the concept sorry, my mouth just stopped working with that. Loss is a natural part of life and it's never comfortable and it's never positive. It's not like a positive feeling necessarily. I mean, loss can be positive, like we can lose things or have things removed from our life that we don't want or that are hurting us, and it can be more so beneficial than negative. But in some cases, a lot of cases, loss is not comfortable. It's not something that we desire. So there could be relationship issues, some sort of relationship dynamic. This could even be, this is a very specific scenario, but maybe one of you lost a parent and you never got to iron out or sort out the difficulties between you and that person before they passed. That's a very specific situation, so that doesn't have to be for every individual here. This is a collective reading, so this is for every Gemini rising that sees this. So that could be 5, 10, 400, like you don't know how many people are watching this. Probably not many, but yeah, so take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. But this is Ten of Cups is disharmony in your relationships, miscommunication, and Six of Cups is the past. And then of course 5 is obviously that grief and that loss. I do want to pull another couple of cards for you just to get some more clarifiers about these situations. Let's get some clarifiers for each card. So let's start with the Two of Cups, Spirit. Let me clarify for Two of Cups, please. Okay. We have Seven of Coins, which is Seven of Pentacles. This is about growth. This is about recognizing that your hard work and what you are fostering and creating will yield results. And with this paired with the Two of Swords, it's like once you make a decision, once you make a move and remove that blockage, that mental blockage, once you make that decision, you will come into a place where you will start to build the blocks. You will start to progress. We also have with that the moon. So this is to me, this is, once again, anxiety, worry, doubt, fear, subconscious. It does talk about the the emotions and intuition, but with the Two of Swords, that's also the mind. So we're talking about the mind and the emotion here, right? So there's not necessarily like a lot of practical steps being taken or like outward physical moves being made because there's this stagnation because of this anxiety. I feel like you're dealing with a lot of anxiety right now about what you should do, what decision you should make, and what area you should choose to grow in, what area you should choose to progress. Also, what was I going to say? I feel like maybe you're worried about making the wrong decision because you don't want to cause loss, you don't want to cause grief, you don't want to cause disharmony or disruption, right? Because we have this stagnation right before we enter this Five of Cups, Ten of Cups, and Six of Cups, right? But I do feel like you worry. There's something below the surface preventing you from this Seven of Pentacles energy. Like, this could even be financial worries. Like, I know the Six of Cups and the Ten of Cups talks a lot about your communication and your family and your childhood and children and, you know, that type of thing, your social and emotional stuff. But with Seven of Coins, this is like building a foundation and recognizing your hard work will bear fruit. So it could be that you are worried about career, you're worried about your future steps revolving career. This could even be like a childhood dream. Like maybe your childhood dream was to become a nurse and you're worried that you'll never get to do that. You're anxious about it. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. You know, that type of thing. This could be involving a job. All right. Did I shuffle that? Did that come out? I've got the Fool just sitting on my desk. I can't remember if I shuffled it. You'd probably hear it on the video if I did. Sorry if my voice sounds like shit. The candles and the incense really mess me up. Like, I really shouldn't put candles and incense in my video because as nice and like cozy and spiritual as it might seem, it's killing me. So, but we have the Fool reversed with Five of Cups. The Fool reverse is like, there's two meanings to this. I like to think of it as like a lack of faith, a lack of belief. There's this lack of taking that next step. But it can also be being like naive, being foolish, being silly, and, you know, making that like unthought out choices. But there's a lot of stagnancy with you. So I feel like it's not that you're being impulsive or naive or silly. And with that is like paired with the Five of Cups. I do feel like this is about like not having faith or trust through loss, or about this loss as to why it's happening. Let me get some clarity for the Ten of Cups reverse, Spirit, and then the Six of Cups. Clarity for the Ten of Cups. What's this disharmony all about? Okay, we've got the Four of Coins. So the Four of Coins is like hoarding mentality. It's hoarding energy. It's holding tightly onto control. Trying to keep what you have really tightly held together, right? So either you feel very burdened to like hold something together, hold a structure together to prevent any loss or any crumbling or any falling down. But you also might feel a sense of like poverty mentality, lack mentality when it comes to your emotional fulfillment. You may feel like you don't have a lot of emotional fulfillment. get some clarity for the Six of Cups. It's like you have to keep what you have sheltered, hidden. This could be money issues. The Sun reversed. Okay, so once again, this is just reiterating that there's a sense of dissatisfaction and unhappiness here in your energy right now, Gemini risings. Like, this could be that you feel the burden of some type of strained financial situation where there's a lack, like you're worried that there's a lack of progress financially. You could also be worried that you could lose something, or if you make the wrong decision, that there will be loss and disharmony. I feel like there's a lack of trust in the universe, a lack of trust in something right now. I want to get some clarity on what area of your life this is happening for you. Spirit, what area of life is this unfolding in for Gemini risings? There could have been, I'm also hearing there could have been childhood issues surrounding money, like you grew up in poverty or you grew up, we have second and sixth house. Yeah, so like this is definitely got something to do with your finances. I was just hearing from Spirit like poverty in the childhood, lack of financial security, because we have unhappiness and the childhood, right? Six of Cups is like reminiscent past. We have Four of Coins. Like, then we have second house, which is finances and valuables. So this is everything from your house, your car, your actual physical money, your bank account, your like just everything you value. It's very like Taurus energy. And then we have the sixth house, which is work, health, and duty. So this is responsibility. You may feel an incredible amount of responsibility to provide or to be financially successful so that you can have a happy, stable home. Maybe you weren't as happy in childhood or in a stable place in childhood. There was a lot of disconnection, a lot of loss, and you're trying very hard to prevent that happening in your current life. Or current life, as in current stage of life, sorry. And if this wasn't something that happened in your childhood necessarily, this could have been something from a past life. Like maybe you have issues around finances that you don't understand because, you know, you were actually relatively happy in childhood or well looked after in childhood. But this could even be something as like maybe you were well provided for, but your parents had a terrible relationship with money and you grew up listening to that, because there's this unhappiness regarding your childhood or past experiences, and this lack of fulfillment emotionally with Four of Coins, this mentality of like strictness and constricting and hoarding with money. And sometimes this can also talk about greed, but I get the feeling that yours is coming from a place of fear of loss, fear of financial failure, fear of losing that money or like not having enough. Because we also have Seven of Coins here as well with the Moon and Two of Swords. This is like mental anguish and anxiety and worry over not being able to grow or harvest or have the abundance. Like you're working really hard to make sure that you have enough to provide as well. And you may go through a bit of a financial loss in this month that might lead you down this spiral of, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, this could be a job change, a job loss, a demotion, or what's not demotion? What's the opposite of a promotion? Is it demotion? I don't think it is. I don't know. But like, you know, this could be something like you're faced with an opportunity where, or like you're faced with a decision to make financially, and it's going to, like, you're really like turning over in your, like, you're just really rocked about it. Like what's the word I'm looking for? Like shaken up. That's the word I'm looking for. Like you're like, oh, okay, like what the fuck do I do? So this could be impacting your financial situation, and maybe you're unable to create the home environment, the family environment that you want, or you're unable to, you feel like you're unable to have that type of life. I'm going to grab some archetype cards for you. I want to see what the solution is, or what's coming in to help you in this situation. Spirit, can I get some information about what might be helpful in this situation for our Gemini risings? Any archetypes that represent helpful energy for this situation? What is the solution or any helpful information for our Gemini risings? Just thinking, do I want to take him? We have detective. Okay. Detective. The light attributes are great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. And the shadow attributes are voyeurism and falsifying information. This came out upright, so the shadow attributes aren't that important. We're more so focusing on the light attributes. And as something this could help you, as for something helpful, great powers of observation, intuition, desire to seek out the truth. So with this being the energy of help, like a helpful energy for you coming up to help you with this situation, is this could be as simple as you taking a step back and observing the situation with clarity, with fresh eyes. You could also be someone who, you could also be in like a legal situation. Like I just heard like a legal situation, like you could be going through maybe you're someone who's in a relationship that's coming to a close and there's a divorce on the table. Like there's an opportunity, you're like, should I divorce this person? Then I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose my car, I'm going to lose everything. Like, what am I going to do? Like, that could be a specific situation for some of you. Like, some of you may be going through a divorce and you need to divvy up your stuff, divvy up your assets. And what could be helpful for you in that moment is making sure that you have all the information that you need, all the paperwork, all of the necessary documents, articles, well, probably not articles, but like, you know what I mean, everything that you need, being able to zoom out as well, like zoom out and look at the big picture. So for those of you who are going through that very specific scenario, like if there's anyone going through that specific scenario, what's going to help you is making sure that you have someone on your side who is able to see what you can't, because you're in this place of fog, of confusion, of worry. You're very bogged down emotionally and very mentally hazy in this scenario. For those of you who aren't going through anything of that sort, this could just simply be, when it comes to not knowing what path you should take, follow your gut, follow your intuition. I recommend not making any decisions based on fear or lack mentality, because while it can be tempting to make decisions based on fear and lack because we want to protect ourselves and make sure that we have enough, sometimes that can lead us to the wrong direction. You know, it can make us pick something that's too safe, that isn't suited for us. Let me get some more cards for what else could be helpful in this situation. But for some of you, this could be a divorce. We have dilettante. Okay, dilettante as a helpful Okay, so we have light attributes, delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. Shadow attribute, pre-attention to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. I'm going to have to pull the book on that because it came out reverse, which highlights the shadow attributes. But I don't even know, I'm not even going to begin to guess with that one. So let's have a look. Okay, dilettante is amateur. Okay, so this is someone who is an amateur in a situation. Someone who hasn't necessarily, they're not a professional. This isn't someone, this archetype doesn't represent someone who's, done this before or is super well versed on the subject. Let me just have a read here. Look for a pattern of delighting in the arts and other areas of endeavour without going very deep. Taking or dabbling too seriously. Okay. So what this tells me is, as some helpful information for you, don't plunge too deeply into the situation. Don't get yourself super involved. If this is a legal situation, leave it to the professionals, right? Make sure that you rely more on professional advice than what you think you know. I mean, obviously what you know, but this card represents someone thinking they know more than they do, thinking they're better at something than they are. So as helpful information, if this is a legal situation like a divorce or like custody or like divvying up stuff, make sure that you don't get too emotionally invested to the point where you say, even in heat of the moment, just make sure you're in this mindset of you know what? I'm open to learning. It's also about being open to help and guidance from someone who knows more or has more information for you. But this could also be about remembering, actually I don't think that's relevant for the situation, but separating from their legal situation, because that's obviously quite specific, but when it comes down to your finances and what you're doing for your career or what you're doing in your day-to-day life or duties, responsibilities, this can be just reminding yourself that sometimes it isn't that deep and you can simplify things. Remember why you started the job that you started. Remember go back to the kind of surface to take a breath. Maybe you've been drowning in information or drowning in confusion, or it's a very confusing card. Sorry, I'm trying my best to read it for this particular situation. But also, as well, don't get too caught up in the finance aspect of life and money. Yes, it can be difficult not to do that because we are all kind of hoping and praying that we can survive in this world where it's extremely expensive. And we all want to build and we all want to grow. But remember why you're growing and what you're building in the first place. What made you start down this path, whether it's a career path, a creative pursuit? Why did you start fostering this thing, right? And don't get too hooked on money. Maybe you started a job and you were very passionate about it and you got so obsessed with money that you burnt yourself out, and now you just oh, do I even know what I'm building this life for? So there's multiple messages. I want to get one more card from the archetype deck and then I'll go into some different stuff. So just zoom out. Look at the bigger picture. Remind yourself why you started down this path. Remind yourself to kind of come up to the surface a little bit. And don't get caught up in all the superficial stuff in life. Especially when it comes to lack mentality with money, or feeling fears of being broke or not being able to provide for your family, or yourself, etc. See what else. One more card for what can help you in this situation, Gemini. Alright, we have Angel. I've got a few cards here actually. We have Angel, light attributes, helping those in need with no expectation of return. So someone actually could come in. I get the feeling that this could be like someone just supporting you as well, as opposed to you supporting someone else, because you seem to be in a place where you can't really do that right now, whether that be emotionally or financially. So there could be someone coming in, like a literal angel, like not necessarily like a literal angel, but like someone who acts like you're like, oh my god, thank you, like you're a saint, like you're an angel, thank you so much. Like maybe someone could literally come into your life and lend you support, whether that be a place to stay or money for groceries or a helping hand. I'm seeing someone give you a card for something. This could be a card for a therapist, a card for a mechanic, a card for a lawyer. It's someone handing you a card and you're like, oh, thank you so much. You know, it's like in this scenario, someone is going to quite literally help you out without expecting you to do anything in return. And I don't feel like these two that were behind it are relevant. Right. So I'm going to put those away, and then we're going to get some cards for your career, and then we're going to get some cards for, I feel like we've already kind of done career and finance, but I will grab some cards anyway. So we'll get some cards for career and finance, and then we'll get some cards for love and relationships, and then home and family. So let's start with career and finance, Spirit. What can we get for career and finance for Gemini risings for the month of September? And then that will be the end of the reading. Let's see what comes up. Career and finances. Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups, this is reversed, but the Ace of Cups typically heralds a new emotional beginning. We'll just have a look what else comes out with it. Okay. We have the Hanged Man and the Magician. Let's have a look at the Ace of Cups really quickly, and then I'll just start seeing what comes up. Okay, so this is going to cause this new chapter to start, and it is going to involve some loss. It is going to involve some reevaluation of how you view your money and finances, how you view your career, reevaluating what you want, what you actually started something for, it's going to open up a new chapter. Financially, you might end up very closed off to this new opportunity. Like if you're starting a new job, you might go into it like, I'm not going to love this, I'm not going to like this, it is what it is. Or you might get a new house and it's like, it's shit, I don't like it. But then what this card is encouraging you to do is to open your heart to the new. Open up to this new beginning. Open yourself up to possibility, to hope. Okay? Then we have the Magician. The Magician is about manifestation, creativity, magic. It's harnessing the elements. It's like taking inventory, taking stock. That's what I'm hearing. It's like take stock. So the Magician works with the pentacles, the cups, the wands, and the swords. He works with everything. He works with the mind and the intellect and the logic. He gets clarity from the swords. He works with the pentacles. What's practical? What's going to work in the earthly realm? Where should he put his money and his time? He works with the natural rhythms of the physical vessel. So that's the pentacle energy. He works with fire, the wands, the passion, the drive, the creativity. He lights the flame, right? And he works with the cups, the intuition, the heart, the emotion, opening up. The Magician uses all of these tools to create and manifest the life that he wants to create and manifest, right? So then we have the Hanged Man. This is about surrender. Surrender to the process. Surrender to the change. This is also, to me, about altering your perspective, seeing things from a different angle. The Hanged Man places himself upside down to get a different scope of the situation, right? So this is, once again, altering that perspective, zooming out, reminding yourself why, like what's going on, like what kind of life do you want to create? Maybe this situation's happening because the life you created before wasn't in alignment with your most authentic self. Now, obviously, this depends on the situation. I don't want to say that to like someone who's just gone through like a physical loss of like a person or something like that, because that is genuinely a very upsetting and unfortunate situation. But if it's the case of like a separation or change of house or a change of career that you didn't necessarily want or you felt forced to have, open yourself up to why that's happening or the potential for why that's happening. The Magician is also about believing a little bit in magic, you know, having a little bit of faith, which with the Fool reversed here in Five of Cups, that's like you don't have a lot of faith right now. But with your career and finances, it's like open up to something new, take stock, take inventory, change your perspective on things and see where it takes you and surrender to it. Surrender to the process. I know it can be a little bit vague, but that's what I'm getting. I'm going to pull some cards for home and family as well. Your family and stuff like that, home and family life. So this is like your kids, your parents, grandparents, people you live with, just home and family. This could be roommates, you know, anyone like your wife, your husband, your partner, etc., your pets, just home and family. For Gemini risings this month. I didn't do home and family for the other 3 readings I did, but I feel called to do it for you. So let's do home and family. Oops. We have the Hermit. So the Hermit reverse is all about forced isolation and loneliness and withdrawing. So this could be that when it comes to your home and family life, you feel the need to withdraw and disconnect from the people in your home and family. This could also be that you don't want to, like you could feel the need to hide, the need to withdraw. Because normally the Hermit upright is this introspective, intentional, like I want to go in. I want to go within. I want to hide. I want to like reflect. But the Hermit reverse is like loneliness. So you might feel, I'm seeing an image of someone standing in an empty house with their boxes and there's no one else around. So this could be you in this situation of like, okay, I'm now alone. You know, it doesn't have to be that specific situation. It could just be the energy of that. Like maybe you feel a little bit alone. The people like in your immediate circle, like your family life and that, like Maybe you feel like you've been separated from them in some way. If this is going back to the divorce narrative that I was talking about before, this could be quite literally like you are now living in an apartment, or the house feels empty, or the place feels different. If you were forced to move homes because of your financial situation, or move towns, like you may feel like you're away from your family. Some of you may have had to move towns because it's cheaper, and now you're away from your family, and you feel a little bit lonely. We also have Three of Coins and the Knight of Swords. So Three of Coins is about working with others, teamwork, right? So I feel like for you, you do have this isolation and this loneliness, but you're being encouraged to network, to work with your team, to collaborate. This could be in, you could even, I feel like you need to rely on your home and, your family and community, maybe a little bit financially. You may be a little bit financially dependent right now. You may rely on someone to give you lifts. You may rely on someone to, stay at someone's house. It's like the Three of Coins encourages you to network, to work with people, to be a team. And it's very in the realms of money because it's the Three of Coins, but this could just be work with others. Don't isolate yourself. Maybe you feel isolated, but you shouldn't isolate yourself. It's don't force yourself to be alone, even if you're tempted to. Stay connected to your community. And then the Knight of Swords. This is moving forward towards clarity and awareness and logic, taking logical steps, being smart, being intelligent, regarding your next steps. So that is what I have for you for home and family. Let me get a couple of cards for love and relationships. This will be more your partnerships, romance, etc. And then that will be the last for you guys. Spirit, what can we get for love and relationships for Gemini risings? This is quite a long reading, sorry. I do tend to do longer readings than, as opposed to shorter readings. Love and relationships for Gemini risings. Okay. All right, we have the Queen of Mirrors, the Bitch. This is the Queen of Swords energy. This deck is a little bit different to the traditional tarot because it has its own kind of meanings. Then we have Nine of Flutes, which is Nine of Cups, Fantasy Suite. And we have the Four of Flutes, which is the Four of Cups, Reflection. All right. Interesting. So with the Queen of Mirrors, the bitch, the Queen of Mirrors is someone who can come across as a bitch, but really they're just extremely intimidating to people, extremely tough, extremely smart, intelligent. This is representative of a woman who is, this doesn't have to be someone in your life, this doesn't have to be you, but this is representative of someone who is logical, clear-headed, they seek clarity, they're intelligent, they're successful, they're independent, entrepreneurial. So when it comes to your love life, this could represent someone in your relationship, right? Maybe you see someone in your relationship as a bit of a bitch, or maybe you have been labeled as that, you've been put in that position in your love life where it's you're now considered that, type of person. This doesn't have to be accurate. This might just be what, you know, has been kind of thrust upon you. But also, you could have been, if this is a situation where like you are going through relationship struggles, like maybe you've had to be someone who's like had to be like, no, you know what, like I have to make this decision for the greater good, and it comes across as like cold, but really you're just being smart and trying to make the correct decisions. And then we have the card of reflection for our flutes. This is about reflecting on a situation, reflecting on a relationship. If there was a divorce, maybe you're reflecting on whether or not you were a little bit rough around the edges towards this person, or you're reflecting on their behavior, like if they were like this. Like this is a lot of about reflecting on why something went wrong, why something isn't working. But if you're in a relationship that is successful or that is stable, um, obviously then this could just be reflecting on um, anything that is not necessarily contributing to that, like any tweaks or anything like that, like things that could be changed. If you're in a successful relationship where there's nothing really necessarily wrong, or this doesn't resonate, maybe you were just meant to watch the first half. But for those of you who are having difficulties in your relationship, like maybe you are being a little bit moody or someone else is being a bit moody, like this is about reflecting on that. But also with the Four of Cups in traditional tarot, the Four of Cups person tends to focus on what isn't going right as opposed to what is, kind of like the Five of Cups. It's like Four of Cups is being given something, or like handed an olive branch and they're looking at that twig on the floor, that type of situation. Then we have the Nine of Cups, which this is actually really positive. This is like almost a Ten of Cups. It's like ultimate fulfillment. It's very positive. It's very nice, lovely energy to be in. It's like the boxes are ticked. So maybe you're reflecting on a past relationship and looking at it now like, yep, this is a lot better. Maybe you've walked away from something as well. Like you've walked away from something and now you're reflecting on like what is actually going to make you happy. I'm going to get some more cards for clarity. What else comes through? All right, we have blindsided with the Nine of Mirrors. This is Nine of Swords. Okay, so going back to the divorce scenario, because that just keeps coming up, or this could even be a breakup. It doesn't have to be a divorce. It could be a breakup. But you may have been blindsided by a bitch. Like someone was a bitch. Someone just... This doesn't have to be a woman. I know that's a commonly associated insult towards women, but this could, like, you could call a man a bitch. You can call anyone a bitch. You could be like, you're a bitch. So perhaps you were blindsided by a bitch. Someone was an asshole to you. And now you're in this place where you are reflecting on what happened, on the situation, right? This could also be like maybe you're finding yourself like you haven't quite gone through this situation yet, but you're thinking about it. You're like, oh, should I make that decision to leave this person? I know it's going to cause me loss. I know it's going to remove all this growth. I know it's going to make me unhappy. Maybe you're sitting there going, you know what? I grew up with divorced parents who were poor. I wanted to build this perfect relationship, perfect life, and I found out that my bitch-ass partner's done this, or this isn't working, and I'm like, well, great. Now I have the decision to destroy it all and to leave it and be like my parents, or not. That's a very specific scenario, but that's a possibility. Like maybe you build a life with someone and now you're faced with the decision of whether or not you want to go through with the loss and the separation that is going to result in potentially reminding you of some past situations and past unhappiness, revoking some childhood stuff, Or like, you know, this could be like, what was I going to say? I'm also getting another scenario of like, I'm not sure if it's relevant, but for some of you, it could be like, oh, no, I don't think it is relevant. But yeah, like, it's like evaluating whether or not, like you might have to start again and you don't want to start again. It's like, do I want to start fresh? How is this going to impact me financially? Like maybe you're financially dependent on this person, or your two incomes are the only reason that you're both making it in this life, like the incomes are combined. So it's making it easier for you. And you have to make that decision to kind of like leave. And then we have Nine of Cups. So I do feel like at the end of the day, there is a silver lining. There's always going to be a silver lining. It just might involve, like, for some of you, this could also be, this is what I was going to say before. Like, if this isn't a romantic relationship or a marriage or something like that, some of you could be, if you were very young, some of you may be faced with this decision where you're being forced to move out of your home. Like your parents are like, get out. Now's the time, Like you're faced with a decision of like, do I leave or do I stay? Some of you might not get a choice, but some of you might have a choice where you're like, should I stay? Like you might be in a very unhappy family dynamic, or where you're at with your family and where you're living, you can't build a future. So you have to leave, but it's going to be a struggle. That could be something for some of you that is a potential avenue. I wish I said that earlier, because if it was a scenario someone was involved in, they probably left long ago because I wasn't saying anything about it. But if you're in that situation as well, like you might be faced with this difficult decision of like, do I move out of my parents' home because I'm unhappy here because of this, this, and this, but then I also know that like I'm going to struggle financially, and maybe you have a difficult relationship with someone in the home. But for the romantic or marital side of things with this card, it feels like something did go a little bit awry with the relationship. Like maybe it seemed good at first. Maybe you started dating someone who was a bit of a bitch, but they were nice to you. And so you dismissed it. And then it came out later that it was like, yo, shit, this person actually is a bitch. But once again, that's a very specific scenario. I'm just going to put those there. Might get one more card for this love and relationships for Gemini risings. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there are any other scenarios at play, because this is one scenario. I want to see if there's any others at play as well. Spirit, are there any other scenarios for Gemini risings love life? Any other Gemini risings here who have a different scenario? Sometimes I feel like when I do readings, I hook into a very specific person's life and everyone else is like, what the fuck? We have a different scenario here. We have to be continued, the cliffhanger, the limo, and the camera guy. This to me is giving like a relationship going in a really good direction. Like for some of you Gemini risings, this is like, in it to win it type shit. So let me just grab some information about what these traditionally mean. We have 12, number 12, the Hanged Man, okay, to be continued, flowing with it, going with the flow, right? So some of you, this relationship, like your romantic life and that, like it's going to continue. Long story short, like you're in the flow state with this person, like it's going to continue. Then we have the limo, which in traditional tarot represents the Chariot. Yeah. Victory, speed, power, success. Like you and this person are cruising. You are cruising, right? Some of you and who aren't part of this situation here, like you're cruising. And then Eight of Rings, that's Eight of Pentacles. I'm hearing like marriage as well. Eight of Pentacles traditionally is about mastering something, patience, progress, building. Yeah, you're building a life. Some of you guys are building a life. You're getting in that car. I'm getting tingles, literally like tingles. Like some of you guys who are Gemini risings, like who aren't going through this particular situation, like you're in the flow state with someone. You are moving forward towards cultivating a life. For some of you Gemini risings, this is marriage. You guys are going to be getting married, like definitely. This could also be moving out, moving house, moving countries. Like some of you Gemini risings with the Chariot are like physically traveling with this person, or like I'm getting like honeymoon vibes from this, you know, as well. Like some of you are moving out, some of you might be, you know, buying a car. Don't know, but the alternate for some of you other Gemini risings who don't resonate with this love reading is during September, like you're in the flow state with someone. This relationship's going forever. It's continuing. Well, you know, I say forever, but like right now it seems like it's going forever towards victory. And the Eight of Rings, the best part about this is about building something, honing your craft, you know, like building something. And in the terms of a relationship, this is like creating something permanent, something solid, you know. It's like the pentacles and slash rings, it's about that physical solid thing. It's like real. It's like there it is, tangible results for your hard work, for your patience. So like for those of you who resonate with this, your love life in September, Gemini risings, is going to be fantastic. And then for those of you who resonate with the first option, I feel like you're very heavily connected to this situation that I was talking about before with these cards. But for some of you, this is going to be potentially, yes, a divorce involving your resources. But for some of you, this could just be a job change, a routine shift that is going to herald financial struggles and stress for you. But you need to open up to the possibilities of where it could take you. So that is what I have for you, Gemini risings. Please let me know how you felt about this reading, what you thought. I hope you sticked around to the end because I feel like there was a little like side one for some other people that I wasn't necessarily as focused on towards the end. But yeah, so let me know what you think. And thank you again for watching. And I hope to see you guys in the next Gemini rising video that I do. Yeah, that's all.